Yo, what's going on, everybody? It is the Nicholas Personic Chessball channel. And rumors are what we are surrounded by right now. Chelsea, rumored to be linked with Kobbie, Mainoo? Really surprising one. We'll get more into that one in just a sec. We got Kieran Dewsbury-Hall links and possibly where he might be taking his next stop to. And we've also got links about Jamie Bynoe Gittens, winger on Borussia Dortmund. Our scouts have went to visit him a few times. Crazy rumors, nothing as it just stands just yet. I will get into this one first. I'm not going to cover it too much because there isn't a lot of info about it. But Cesare Casade, there are links with him, and it looks like Napoli are trying to hijack the deal from Torino. I'm not sure how much you can really link this one as a hijacking. It's not like Torino have had an offer accepted, so it's not really just a hijacking. A hijack's usually when the other team already has a bid accepted. So I wouldn't really call this one a hijack. This one's just a battle war or a transfer war between a player. And I could definitely see Napoli paying a bigger price for his bigger price for his transfer. I could definitely see them hitting that fee. It'll be interesting to see if they put a buyback clause though in it. I know that there's a sell-on fee, but I wonder if Napoli, because of who they are and everything, they won't maybe not want to negotiate a buyback clause. So that's something to keep on the eyes for of that transfer, because that one seems the most likely to happen in the recent days. I think that one will end up happening. Either will it be Napoli, will it be Torino, will it be other teams we'll end up seeing. But let's get into this big news surrounding our team. So the first piece of major news is Kobbie Mainoo to Chelsea possibly, as Kobbie Mainoo is unhappy with Man United for their contract talks. It sounds like their contract talks have stalled because of Ineos now not wanting to hand out big contracts as they're trying to reduce their wage bill. So they are trying to do good things, Man United, but they're not paying the players maybe they should. Kobbie Mainoo is one player they should definitely be keeping on their books. And it looks like they're trying to sell Højlund, Garnacho, and Kobbie Mainoo, or they're listening to offers at least for those three guys. In Chelsea have built up interest. Of course, as we know, Cole Palmer is like best buzz with him at England camp, and he's already liked posts with Kobbie Mainoo in a jersey. Now, when you look at this, it says that he's still currently on his normal $20,000 per week, and they're looking to have around $200,000 as a new wage for him at United. Now, when you think about this deal, Chelsea have already gone through their restructuring period. They want to save funds. They can't give out big wages. The highest earner right now of that team, I'm pretty sure, is Reece James on like £250,000 a week. If we're not counting someone like Raheem Sterling, who is the highest earner technically with $325K. He will be gone next window, but we are counting basically at the team right now. Based off this, if Kobbie Mainoo were to earn the same amount of wage, he'd be like the fifth highest earner on the team. Someone like Cole Palmer earns $120,000 per week. That is his new wage with his new extension. That is what he has. He has an incentive-based contract, which if he hits those incentives, his contract will only go up. That is how Cole Palmer's deal works, I'm almost certain. So, someone like Kobbie Mainoo, if, let's say this deal were to happen, which it most likely will not, this is, of course, a thing from his agent saying, hey, we're just going to throw our names over here to other teams that might be willing to have him, just to bump up that deal and get you to sign an extension. I'm sure United don't want to lose Kobbie Mainoo. They know how important he is for our future. But the thing is, the agent's saying to themselves, okay, my player has friends over here at Chelsea. He knows a lot of players from England camp. They would probably enjoy his services. I don't think Chelsea are necessarily interested totally in his services. But I'm sure as hell they're taking a look at him now if this is what the actual news is reporting. But it's about the wages for them. It's about wages for Chelsea. Paying that around that wage just doesn't fit what Chelsea's new wage structure looks like. So this one would be hard off that. And then if you were to look at the money standpoint, would Chelsea really go out and spend that much more money on a player of his caliber? I mean, how much would Kobbie Mainoo even be worth? 70 million? 65, 60 million? Anywhere in that range right now? It's one of those ones where money could be spent other ways. There's players in the midfield who could be recalled who I think are better than Kobbie Mainoo. Not Andre Santos, I think, is better. I don't think that Leslie Gachukwu is better. But I think those two players could do a job as backups. We don't need another guy who could play a job that they could do, in my opinion. So right now, I'd say no to this deal. But it's one to keep an eye out for, because I think this is a really piece of interesting news that Ineos are really trying to, to dip on their three youngest players who have really high potentials. And not wanting to give Kobbie Mainoo a new extension, I think, is insane. If you're going to get rid of players that are on high wages and now replace them with your young guys who have good futures, Kobbie Mainoo is one of those guys you give an extension to while you're trying to dip out contracts. I think if you're going to replace big guys on older contracts that are large, and you're going to not give guys like Mainoo extensions, it's just not a good look. And I think that's not, I mean, guys are talking about how they still have Pohl. How much longer is Man United's star Pohl going to last for? Next piece of big news is about Kieran Dewsbury-Hall and his imminent exit that looks like could be happening any time now. With the new, manager, of course, of West Ham being Graham Potter, former Chelsea boss, it looks like there's a good chance that West Ham are interested in his services. And it looks as though that from what we have seen though this season, not only is Kieran Dewsbury-Hall not up to standard, even in Conference League games, he hasn't necessarily looked good. He's looked okay, but even in those Conference League games against smaller end opponents, he hasn't looked special. So we haven't really needed to be sitting here being like, he really needs more time. This one screamed Danny Drinkwater when we signed him. I can't say right now, like I've been saying, I don't think he's a bad player, but he's not up to Chelsea's standard. I really don't think so, and I don't think he's good enough to play in a pivot. And the players behind him that can be playing in that advanced 8 role, I just don't think he's good enough either for that spot. So, and before I get into actually anything else, I don't actually think that Maresca wanted to sign Kieran Dewsbury-Hall. I don't think that he ever wanted him here. He knew how good he was for a championship team, but I think he understood the levels of what the championship was. Dewsbury-Hall should have went to Brighton when he had the chance. He saw Chelsea come in for him, and he said, wow, I want that. That was a hijacked deal right there. But they never should have hijacked it. I would have rather them given more time to guys like Cesare Casade. I would have preferred if they kept Andre Santos or Leslie Chukwu. Instead, we brought in Kieran Dewsbury-Hall, and now he's going to go, either on loan or a permanent transfer, and we're going to lose $5 to $10 million for him in the sale to wherever he goes. That's the definition of a failed transfer. Getting more into it, it seems as though, like I've said, West Ham are the most interested team in him. Otherwise, I already talked about how I thought Leicester would be a really good place to put him back at. I think they already said there's been rumors earlier in the past few months that Leicester have been interested in him. Ruud van Nistelrooy said he wanted to bring him back or something around those sorts. I don't necessarily think he is a player that can play at the highest level. I've just kind of been spitting about this because I just never thought this deal was all that great to begin with. As Chelsea fans, we all had the same opinion. Why sell a guy like Gallagher to replace him with a guy from the championship? I had the honest feelings that I thought Conor Gallagher was done wrong. We all thought the same thing. He accepted an offer to be nice to Chelsea and to get a nice move. He's been dominant for Atletico Madrid, a very helpful part of why they've been so successful so far. And this move is just one that now he's been injured and he hasn't gotten the playing time. I think he's been out ill. So now he might not even play another game for Chelsea until what? He's sold. So this is one that I think this is a failed transfer. They're going to lose $5 to $10 million on this sale. The owners have to call it and say, okay, we screwed up. We signed this just to appease Maresca, even though he didn't want him in the first place. It's what you got to take sometimes. And it gets worse when the player reposts a tweet saying Maresca could have handled the situation better. This one isn't on Maresca. This one's on the owners for signing the guy in the first place. So the last bit of news goes over winger Jamie Bynoe Gittens, the England Youth International. I don't think he's gotten any yet. Some caps for the team. But he's a former Man City Academy graduate who has since left and moved to Borussia Dortmund, where he has 9 goals, 5 assists. He's been brilliant there this season. I've watched him in quite a few Champions League games. He's very, very much going forward. He breaks them down. He does skills, lovely skills. He's a brilliant winger. But you get to think to yourself, can he do this in England? Probably. This guy has looked brilliant. If Liverpool and Chelsea scouts are looking at him, that means that they are excited by what they see. Joe Shields, of course, our chief scout, I think it's just chief scout, is the former Man City scout. We know how much he loves his Man City players. We've had so many of them. Tosin, Jadon Sancho, Cole Palmer, Lavia. Those are just a few to name. I mean, we have so many of their guys who we've picked up in the recent few years. That Man City Academy has been producing brilliant players. And this one just another one to add on the list. Now, do I think winger is a position that we really need to be focusing on in this window? No. Upcoming? Possibly. With guys like Esteval Willian coming in, with guys like Kendry Paez coming in, we still have our Jadon Sanchos, our Netos, our Maduekes. Are one of those guys going to get moved on to bring in other talent? I don't think it'll necessarily happen, but at the same time, you got to think to yourself, which one of those guys would, maybe need a loan or maybe need to be sold to bring in a guy like this? I don't know. Raheem Sterling, of course, will be sold, but he's not even in the plan to begin with. So this is one to think about. He's only 20 years old. If in the summer, I don't know if he'll be 20 or 21 still, but this guy's been brilliant for Dortmund. He's one to look out for, and I don't think, again, it's one that should happen here in January, but it's one you definitely should be thinking about in the summer. He's going to probably bring a hefty fee, but it's what happens nowadays. You got to pay big fees for good players. Of course, when Jadon Sancho was sold to United from Dortmund, they spent $80 million on him. We'll see if he ends up being worth the same amount. Of course, Jadon Sancho in his seasons at Dortmund had 20 assists, 20 goals. He's got 9 and 5 so far, so we'll see how close he can get to that tally. So let me know what you guys think of the news today. Not a ridiculous amount of interesting news. Of course, the Mainoo one was more yesterday night-ish, afternoon for me. Then there was the Dewsbury-Hall stuff's been going on for a little while, but the news got updated a little bit after, especially after he reposted a Twitter link this morning. And then the stuff for Bynoe Gittens as well is around the last few weeks. But the thing is, the news is all staying consistent with what we've been seeing over the last few weeks and what we've been interested in. So it's stuff that you can believe, and that's what you want to report, is the stuff that you honestly can believe might happen. Even though the Kobbie Mainoo deal is not one that you technically could believe will happen, as I've been saying, it's one that is only going to be a deal you see as a way of leverage for United to pay him. Or for some reason, United actually just do not want to pay him and would rather sell him. If he were to be sold, Ineos might be under fire, dude. This would be a horrible move for them. I have a friend who would probably lose his mind. I've already talked to him about it, and he said that he'd go crazy. So, I don't know what to think. Let me know what you guys, though, think yourselves. Like and subscribe to the video. Please subscribe and like. It's so important. Also, look at the Instagram and TikTok, Nicholas Prosakis CFC on those platforms. See you guys in the next one. Peace.